You hear that refreshing sound, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means. It is time for yet another episode of Sipping With Sin, the podcast about stuff and things where we talk about absolutely nothing but absolutely everything at the same time. Welcome back to another episode, another week of us rambling and letting our voices be heard on the internet about nerdy stuff. Nerdy stuff, scary stuff, all kinds of stuff. Just stuff in general. You know, this is our platform. This is where we get to do our damn thing. And we appreciate you coming back and listening to us for yet another week. So, since we're back for another week, it's time to welcome our reoccurring, lovely co-host, the one, the only, the dreadlock himself, Mr. Christian.
How's it going, everyone? It feels good to be back again.
Again? I don't even know. Dude, we'll have to plan something special for like the year episode. Because I don't even know. We got like another quite a bit, but we need to plan something special for that. And we also, maybe we need to start getting some guests on before long and introducing that and having segments where we have some interviews with people. What do you think?
That'd be cool. I think that'd be dope.
It would be dope. It would indeed. But as we like to do every episode, we like to start it off by talking about what we've been listening to, watching, playing, or reading recently. Christian, did you want to start off with what you've been into?
Sure, I can go first.
Okay.
So this week, watching and whatnot, I read a few things. I read some comics. I read Batman issue 126, and that's the storyline where we're getting into Failsafe, a new villain that is a robot, essentially. I don't really know who created him. I'm assuming it's some kind of Batman failsafe system. It just makes sense. But he's whooping ass. He's beating the dog shit out of Batman in the comic, and it's kind of sad to see him go out like that. And Batman got his ass beat so bad, and Failsafe, the actual robot system, knows everything that Batman's going to do before he does it. So much so that Batman has tapped once again into his other personality that they don't mention that much in the comics and animated shows. Zur-En-Arr. And for those of you listening who don't know who the hell Zur-En-Arr is, that name comes from a phrase that I think his dad said when he was a kid, because they went and saw Zorro, the night that they died. We all know that. But he said the problem with Zorro is if he were real, then he would probably be in Arkham. So Bruce has adapted that phrase, Zorro in Arkham, to Zur-En-Arr, which is a failsafe personality that he has in case he gets his mind taken over or something like that. So we get to see Zur-En-Arr again, and that's really cool. He's pretty fucking brutal. So it's really nice to see the comics tap into some old school Batman lore. And for those of you who don't know what Zur-En-Arr looks like, I'm sure you've seen the Batman costume. It looks kind of raggedy, and it's like yellow and purple and red. It kind of looks like ketchup and mustard mixed with some purple in there, and he's all fucking crazy looking. Yeah, that's Zur-En-Arr. So I did read that issue. It was great. I also read this Riddler story by Tom King. Those of you who know me know that I have a big problem with Tom King. I think that he's a good writer, but he likes to he doesn't understand certain characters. Like he had a run for a few characters that was really fucking awesome. It was really good. He's written some really good stuff, but when he writes Batman, he doesn't really understand the character Batman. I don't think he likes Batman. I think he likes the sidekick characters more. So when he's writing stuff like Nightwing and characters like Robin, they always seem pretty cool, and I like what he does. But with Batman, he just makes Batman this fucking insane, crazy guy that wants to die, and I just don't really like it. And then he does a lot of stories like more recently the Batman Catwoman stories, and he's the person who killed Alfred, which I'll never forgive him for. And he also did essentially the story where like Batman proposes to Catwoman, she leaves him, and then you have the City of Bane story and all that. He did all that stuff. So you either love or hate Tom King. I'm on the hate train. He also did Heroes in Crisis, which started great and then ended really terribly. So I mean, we'll see what happens. But the Riddler story that I read was good if you don't take it seriously. Riddler was like, he couldn't be stopped in this story. He was fucking untouchable. But when you look at the Riddler isn't like that at all. So, like I said, if you don't take the story too seriously, it was a really good read. I actually bought that one physically. So it's one I plan to keep for a little while. And then aside from that, I watched I'm sorry, not Batman. I was just talking about Batman. I watched Dragon Ball Superhero in theaters this past weekend, as of the time of this recording, and I had a lot of fun with that movie. My quick review. Obviously, it's not as good as the last film, the Broly film. That was, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, that's what you want to see, right? You want to see epic fights. You want to see guys transforming. You want to hear the yelling. You want to see the blast, like all of that stuff. You want to see. So that movie was like a 9 out of 10 for me. This movie was more like a 7 out of 10. But the biased parts of me wants to give it like a 7.5, almost an 8, because I'm biased. My two favorite characters in all of Dragon Ball are Gohan and Piccolo, and this movie is all about Gohan and Piccolo. So they finally get the spotlight. We get to see them doing some cool stuff. We both see them get a new transformation, so that's awesome. And I got to say, I liked Piccolo's transformation more, like the way it looks, than the way Gohan's looks. But how Gohan got to his transformation is cool because it hits a lot of beats that we remember loving from the Cell Saga when he was a kid and he was, he was fucking untouchable. So that was really cool to see. I recommend everybody see this movie. It's very much old school Dragon Ball in that sense. It's very wholesome. It's very humorous. Low stakes. You don't really feel like any of our main characters are going to perish in this film, which is fine. Like I didn't really expect to go and watch this movie and Gohan get killed. But that's just because this is a Gohan Piccolo centric movie. And we get to see a lot of things. Piccolo calls out a lot of stuff that fans, myself included, have been calling out. He constantly berates Gohan for being weak, for not training, for always relying on Goku and Vegeta to do everything. He constantly tries to get Gohan to get back into the swing of fighting and training. Gohan neglects his daughter a lot. He's kind of becoming Goku in a sense, but instead of neglecting his kids for fighting, he's neglecting his kid for work. He works all the time. He's always doing stuff for work, and Pan understands and she's cool with it. But Pan, was also in this film, and she was a great character to watch. She's 3 years old, but she acts just like Goku did when he was younger, so that's fun to see her do that. And it's fun to see Gohan get back into the swing of things. I really, really enjoyed that. I loved seeing Gohan be a badass again for a little bit. I love seeing Piccolo be a badass, even though I think Piccolo never stopped being a badass. I just think that when you get characters like Vegeta and Goku and Broly and all these other Saiyans and Frieza and all that, you kind of lose touch of what's going on. But I got to say real quick before I end this, the standout characters for me in this were the two androids that you see in all the commercials, Gamma 1 and 2. Gamma 1 and 2 are fucking fantastic characters, and I hope that we get to see at least one of them again in the manga or in movies to come, because that's how much fun I had with them. And when the next Dragon Ball video game comes out, they better be in the fucking game because they were excellent. And this movie also has a bunch of fan service in it, so you can kind of expect that to go with the comedy. So there's a lot of fan service in this movie, but not so much so where I was like taken out of the film. So just have that in mind. But yeah, man, I recommend seeing it. If you got some money to spare, you got an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes to spare, go see this movie. It's definitely worth it. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, especially a diehard, it's for you. If you're a Piccolo or Gohan fan, this movie's definitely for you. And can't wait to see what they do next.
First off, let me say, how dare you? How dare you, sir?
How dare I?
What you said is a travesty, and I will not tolerate it.
What do you mean?
Your favorite characters are Gohan and Piccolo?
Dude, my favorite characters have always been Gohan and Piccolo.
How
and I'll
dare
tell you
you?
why.
How
Let me
dare
tell
you
you why.
not utter the legend that is Trunks in that statement? What is wrong with you?
Trunks,
And more
here's the thing.
specifically, let me clarify, not just Trunks. Future Trunks was the shit. I love Trunks.
I
Trunks is
don't
my
disagree
favorite
with you.
character.
I don't disagree with you, but let me tell you why Trunks isn't my favorite. Trunks isn't my favorite because if you have to choose one half Saiyan character to be your favorite, that's going to be Gohan. Gohan was Trunks' mentor, so I don't think I'm on the wrong track there.
Trunks had a
And
sword,
we really,
and his hair looked so
huh?
sick when it was longer, and he went Super Saiyan.
Yeah, I mean, like Trunks had a cool moment, even though he got his ass beat and
Trunks didn't get his ass
embarrassed.
beat. It was all a figment of your imagination. Trunks is the shit.
Nah, Trunks got that butt spanked, and Cell was just like, ha ha ha! You
That's because
told me
Cell
you
is
could
probably one
better
of the
make
best
fun of me.
villains ever.
Speaking of which, Cell kind of makes an appearance in this movie.
Cell's the
Kind
shit.
of,
That
but
may
not
be
really.
that may be the best saga. I
So
would put
real
Majin Buu
quick with
saga
that.
up there with it, and obviously Frieza for the stuff that happens in Frieza. But Frieza to me, I've almost seen too many times at a point where I'm kind of like, okay, it's Frieza saga. I really like Cell saga though.
Well, at the time of this recording, if you're following the manga, Frieza just got a new transformation. So now
Jesus
he's Black
Christ, Frieza
Frieza.
won't go away.
Yeah, so I'm actually sketching Black Frieza right now. I have it in my tablet, so I'll
Black
probably post
Frieza?
that within. Yeah, Black Frieza.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And yeah, man. So I'll be sketching that. So if you guys catch up with our socials, you'll see it for sure. But Cell's my absolute favorite villain of all time. I think Cell's introduction is the best introduction for a villain we've gotten in all of Dragon Ball. And that's just my opinion because he was scary, man. Cell showed up
Cell
and he was
made
a
it feel
horror villain.
hopeless. You felt like all attempts to defeat Cell were hopeless and you were doomed. That's the
It
feeling
wasn't
I
even
got the
just
whole
that.
saga until like Gohan went like unheard of levels, and that's one of the best Dragon Ball Z moments of all time is Gohan reaching that new power level and just having that jacked up arm and he's all busted up, and dude, that's epic. That is an
And the
epic
reason
part.
why it was so his intro for me was just so epic. And I use that word. I don't use that word often, so it really mean something when I say it. But like the reason why I liked it so much is because Cell shows up and like the town is a ghost town. He has taken everybody out, but you don't find any bodies. It's just clothes, and that's some shit that you would see in like the Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing. Like you would see that kind of shit in that movie like that. So it was really scary compared to all the other stuff that we've seen in this movie. It wasn't somebody boasting, posturing about how strong they are and how they want to do this and that. Cell had an objective. His objective was to become complete and then test his complete power on the strongest people that he could possibly test it on. And that's exactly what the fuck he did. I love first form Cell. I love the bug inspiration that he had. He looked like a big, grasshopper praying mantis kind of creature. I really enjoyed that. I liked his color scheme. I liked his name. It was very simple. I liked his goals. He was to absorb the androids. I really enjoyed all of that stuff. He went back in time because the androids were destroyed by Trunks in his future. Like I love all of that stuff and how they tied it in. And then you get second form Cell, which I absolutely hated. Yeah, and that's the kind of the Cell that you see a little bit of in this newest Dragon Ball movie, unfortunately. And then you get Perfect Cell. Perfect Cell's a great villain because he's essentially what would happen if Vegeta was just evil, right? And that's he was like the best parts of Frieza and the worst parts of Vegeta when it comes to him being a villain, and that's why I liked him so much. And he even talks about how much of Vegeta cells that he has in him, and that's why he's so arrogant. That mixed with
Kakarot.
Frieza's arrogance is crazy. So I really did enjoy that that introduction to him. But getting off Dragon Ball, like I definitely recommend you see the movie. And Gohan, yeah, Gohan's always going to be my favorite. Like there's no moments like Gohan's moments that resonate with me. Aside from Goku transforming the first time into a Super Saiyan, Gohan turning Super Saiyan, Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2, Gohan fighting Frieza, Gohan fight eat Radix. Like Gohan's been the MVP since he showed up. Like that's what I'm talking
Great
about.
Saiyan,
The
man.
thing is now, like you have so many transformations and so many other Saiyans coming out of the woodworks that they just kind of like lost sight of Gohan and they just quit doing stuff with his
Oh, they didn't
character.
lose
When you
sight. They gave
give
him Great Saiyan, man.
when you give Gohan a moment to actually shine, dude, it's fantastic. And I really like what his character does and what he stands for. He's a better dad than his dad would ever be. But the other thing is Piccolo and Gohan's relationship is absolutely my favorite of all of Dragon Ball because no matter what you think, Goku is Piccolo. I'm sorry, Goku is Gohan's father for sure. But Piccolo, that's Gohan's daddy, bro.
Yeah.
Like to quote fucking Guardians 2, he may be your father, but he ain't your daddy. Like that, Piccolo could say that any day of the week to Gohan, and Gohan be like, "Yeah, you're right." Like there's no getting around it.
Yeah, I
Their
can't argue
relationship
that.
is it's absolutely the most wholesome, the best one I've ever seen. Gohan single handedly made Piccolo a good person, like a good being. It was fantastic. So I love that. and that's why they're my favorite characters, and they just don't get the attention that they deserve. But finally, we got a movie that's about them. So, for fans like myself who want to see those two characters shine, this is the one.
Trunks is still the best. Just saying. Speaking on Dragon Ball, I've had a strong urge to make the missus and Baby Sin watch Dragon Ball Z with me. Um, Dragon Ball had a crossover event with Fortnite recently, and we've been playing that. They have like Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, and Bulma in the game. And just seeing them and seeing the transformations, it made me really miss. And I really would like to watch the Cell Saga and stuff again. So I may need to find Dragon Ball Z somewhere soon in the future and watch it. But that's been pretty fun. Except getting like Kamehameha from everywhere is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I will say that. Because you'll hear it and you just start running. And the next thing you know, it just blows up all around you. And you're like, oh, shit. That kind of sucks. But riding Nimbus around, oh, dude, it's fun. It's been fun. But it has gave me the desire to watch Dragon Ball Z again. I know I could go. I think Hulu has Dragon Ball, but I don't really want to watch that. And I think Hulu also has Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Super, which I've watched a lot of Dragon Ball Super. I heard GT's not that great. I don't think I've really watched any GT much. But I want to watch Z in particular and see Cell Saga, see the Majin Buu Saga. Man, a lot of good stuff. But I have to find it. I'll have to find it, and then maybe we'll talk about that on the show soon.
Great.
But what I've been watching, I'm going to start with this past Saturday. We had UFC 278. Me and the missus watched it. And it was a pretty damn crazy fight. There was two fights in particular I want to talk about just very, very briefly. One of them was possibly Luke Rockhold's final fight. And he fought Paulo Costa. Dude, it was a crazy fight. Crazy. Rockhold was winded. Like, worse than I've seen anybody be winded ever. Talking, this dude's in the middle of a fight, putting his hands on his knees, leaning over. I was like, oh, God, he's not going to make it. He makes it the entire fight, somehow, and has some memorable moments, including hitting the fence at one point, looking completely gassed, looks across at Costa and says, fuck you, and then throws a left and tags this dude in the mouth and staggers him. And then at the end of the fight, Rockhold's nose is busted bad. He's bleeding everywhere. He's on top of Costa, and he just starts rubbing his nose and face all over Costa, which was absolutely disgusting, but just rubbing the blood all over him. It was probably Rockhold's last fight. He kind of may mention that in the post-fight interview. He did lose the fight. Found out he almost lost his leg. He wore a sleeve on his leg. They approved it. He almost lost his leg, I think, from a staph infection in his shin. His last fight, he has jaw broke. He's 37. And he's had a rough couple years. So him even making it through the fight was kind of a victory in its own. But then once that ended, they also gave fight of the night to them too, which I don't know how Rockhold made it through that fight with his conditioning, but he's a tough ass dude. I'll give him that. The final fight was between Usman and Leon Edwards. Usman had only lost one fight and was on like a 19 win streak, I think. And the first round, I will say, went to Edwards. The rest of the fight went to Usman just dominating. And Edwards looked defeated. I mean, so Leon Edwards' nickname is Rocky, and this literally looked like a damn Rocky movie. Like, it looked like Rocky 4, just Edwards just losing, looks defeated. He wasn't all busted up or anything, but just looked defeated. The announcers had already buried him. They were like, it's over. You know, everybody was like, he's not even looking at his trainers. He's defeated. He knows he's disappointed. Right now, he's just wanting a moral victory and making it out. With a minute left, this dude fakes a left and kicks Usman in the head clean and drops him. He goes from losing and just trying to make it that final minute to knocking out the champion and breaking the streak. It was crazy. Like, clean knockout. Dude's eyes are wide open when he hits the canvas. It was insane. So I want to briefly talk about that because it was a crazy-ass conclusion to the card and UFC fight. If you want us to talk about the different fights, we can. Me and the missus do try to watch them. I'd like to make Christian watch some with me. I don't know if he really... Do you ever get in UFC?
I mean, every now and then I'll have some stints where I'll watch some fights, but I don't know enough of the fighters.
Gotcha. Okay. Something else I watched that I've been kind of excited. I've heard really good reviews about is Top Gun Maverick. Me and the missus watched it, and I will have to say, if you like the original Top Gun, you will love this one. I thought they did a really great job. There was things that was very interesting going into it. Val Kilmer was one of them. Val Kilmer he has issues. He had throat cancer, I believe, and he now has, I don't know what the term is for like the hole in your neck where you have to put the little device. Christian, do you know what it is?
I don't remember.
You know what I'm talking about? To talk, it's like the little thing. Anyways, Val Kilmer, I guess his health is okay, but he's recovered from that, but he's still, he can't really talk that well. And yeah, he's definitely declined from when Top Gun come out in 86 or whatever it was. But I was curious how that would work. I was curious how the story would pick up. Tom Cruise is in it. And pretty much quick rundown of it without going into detail and spoiling it, because I know a lot of people probably still haven't seen it. Top Gun, pretty much picks up 30 something years after the original. Tom Cruise's character Maverick is still pretty much being Maverick. He hasn't really gotten promotions or anything. And you find out that Goose's son, who you see briefly in the original movie, Goose would have been the co-pilot, his backseat for Maverick for Tom Cruise that died in the original. His son is actually in the Air Force and a pilot. And pretty much Tom Cruise gets moved to Top Gun to teach pretty much the best pilots in the world this impossible mission, and that's what it's all about. They do show Val Kilmer. I thought how they handled that situation was great, given his circumstance. I absolutely loved it. It was really nice. John Hamm's in it. Jennifer Connelly. Miles Teller is Goose's son, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. The missus who watched Top Gun, but she didn't really watch all of it, like, closely, was interested enough that she watched this entire movie and was, she didn't fall asleep or anything like that. So that's always a good sign. If you enjoy it, though, you enjoy that kind of stuff, I definitely recommend watching it. I think it actually, time of recording this, passed, is it Infinity War? For box office? It's like, I think it's now the all-time, I don't know if I can find it. Let's see. I think it passed Infinity War, though. I think that's what it said. For all-time stuff.
That's a simple feat there.
Yeah, it's, especially in this day and age, it's pretty crazy. Okay, where is it? It's an old article. I'm trying to find... What, in Infinity War? What was the all-time box office? It's not in-game, or is it in-game?
I think it's in-game.
Well, it passed one of them. Now I'm not seeing it. But it was like a big thing that popped up. And yeah, really good. Definitely recommend watching it. It's definitely worth a watch. I'm still trying to find it, but I'll find it and I'll bring it back to you later in the podcast. But yeah, that's been pretty much. I've also been watching Hard Knocks. I've been kind of avoiding talk about that. We watch that weekly, the weekly episodes, and we've been watching What We Do in the Shadows weekly episodes. That show is freaking hilarious. We've talked about that in the past. Really enjoyed this season. But that's pretty much what I've been watching this week. And I want to go ahead and go to our first topic, first segment, which would be some news. Me and Christian both have some news. Mine's very, very short. I'm going to throw this out there, and I'm going to try to find that stat while Christian goes over his news. But my news would be Halloween Ends made a big announcement this week. They had Jamie Lee Curtis announce that it will be in theaters October 14th, as everyone knew, for the conclusion of Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers. But also, same day, it will be premiering on Peacock October 14th as well, which is kind of interesting. So Halloween Kills doing the same thing because of COVID and how theaters and everything were, and just that people weren't really going to theaters at the time. They did the day-to-day launch of Peacock in 2021, and they debuted at $49 million in North America and eventually racked up $92 million domestically and over $131 million globally. So pretty interesting move by them. I don't hate the move. I'm actually kind of excited because I'll probably end up watching it on Peacock first, and then maybe I'll get to go see it in theaters, depending. But I think we may just like get some friends and have a projector and have our own movie night with it. But I'm pretty excited about that. Definitely not mad at it, but there is my news. Halloween Ends will be on Peacock and theaters October 14th, just announced. Christian, what news did you have for us?
I mean, before I get to my news, I think that that's fine. I'm definitely gonna go see that movie in theaters. I want to get the theater experience for that, so I'll go see that as soon as possible. Probably the day that it drops. Think that that's smart and dumb that they dropped that on the same day because they everybody was shitting on, like, for an example, everybody was shitting on WB for having that same deal with HBO Max last year and how much money everybody was losing and blah blah blah. But man, I think it's a smart idea also because for me, Halloween Kills was trash. I did not like it. There were scenes of that movie that I thought were awesome. There were kills in that movie that I thought were awesome. There was some imagery in that movie that I thought was awesome. The very first part of the film where we go back to Haddonfield, 1978, and we see the original mask, kind of like we see the original mask remade and all that shit. Like all of that stuff is fantastic. Guy dressing up as Loomis with the practical makeup, that's fantastic. But then you get to Tommy Doyle, who's the worst part of that movie. Then the chant that we hear in the movie, so much so that it's like one of the most memed things of all time. Evil dies tonight. Like, I just can't let that go. I can't let that slide. It was just so annoying to me, and I can't believe that, like, that's the choice that we made. Like I said, the movie's fun, but just that one phrase and the hospital scene.
They could have got rid of the mob,
scene,
personally. And Tommy Doyle, they could have wrote him better. All that
scene.
was boo-boo shoes.
Anyway, with that being said, like, I'm still gonna go see this last one. I know it's not gonna be the last. It's gonna be the last of this trilogy.
It's gonna be
But,
Jamie Lee Curtis's last one. They'll reboot it eventually.
Yeah, they'll give it 5-6 years. They'll reboot that shit again. When
I mean, ideally, I would have watched it in theaters, but just how it kind of played out, and with everything going on, that's around the missus' birthday. So we'll save money and we'll probably just watch it that way. And then, like I said, I may end up still going to theater and watching it. Just depends, because I watched Ends in theater, so.
We'll see what happens. I saw this trilogy. I plan to see all of them in theaters, so I'm just gonna finish it out with that way. And I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe the movie will come out and it'll be fucking trash, and then I'll end up just getting Peacock just to see the movie. I have no idea. But to my news,
hold on. Before you do your news, I found that stat. Before I forget,
go for it.
Okay, so Top Gun, it's 36 years after the original. First off, second off. Over the weekend, it surpassed Avengers: Infinity War to become the sixth highest grossing domestic release of all time, with $683.4 million coming in. Trailing only mega hits such as Black Panther, Avatar, Star Wars Episode 7.
That's so getting into my news.
Okay.
The bad part of my news is Batman Caped Crusader got canceled. And for those of you who don't know what Batman Caped Crusader was supposed to be, it was a new animated series for Batman that we were supposed to be getting. The art style and art direction was going to be Bruce Timm style, what we used to get in the 90s for the original Batman the Animated Series. So we're going back to that. And Matt Reeves was going to be a big part of the writing and the direction for this as well. They teamed up to make this the best Batman animated series that they could make. But with the Discovery buying, WB, that has been canceled, as with a lot of other things that have been canceled. That's just the one that hit me the hardest because as a huge Batman fan, and especially a Batman the Animated Series fan, that was news I was looking the most forward to out of all the things that they've announced over the past couple of years. So to hear that is now canceled and not, going to be released in any shape or form, really fucking sucks. It really stings. And I can't imagine any other Batman fans thinking to themselves, oh, it's okay, because Batman the Animated Series is still to this day one of the best pieces of Batman media ever created, and I don't think it's ever going to be topped. And this show could have been the one thing that may have put it on top, but we won't be getting that. So to lighten the load of that bad news, some good news that I have is one of my favorite B horror movies of all time is finally getting the video game treatment, and that is Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game.
That was a shocking announcement at Gamescom, I have to say.
Yeah. I didn't even watch Gamescom, and I saw that was coming out, and I watched.
So the trailer, the trailer threw me off at first because it kind of had a Guardians of the Galaxy feel, like that 80s, and kid had like a headset and he was like rocking out and stuff was blowing up, and I was like, wait, I don't know. But as soon as I saw pizza at the door, I was like, this is freaking Killer Clowns. Like, I called it as soon as I saw that. And then once he kind of peeked over the pizza box, I was like, holy shit, this is actually Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Man, with that being said, it's going to be an asymmetrical game, just like Dead by Daylight, the Friday the 13th, the game that we got a couple years ago that got kind of screwed up with the lawsuit that was happening. But it's made by the same team of people, but the consultants are the Chiodo brothers, the guys who actually made the film. So I'm really excited for that because there's no ongoing legal battles with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I assume uh, that this game will play out a lot like Dead by Daylight because that's the same kind of gameplay that you had with Friday the 13th. So I think they'll take all the good parts from Friday the 13th and from Dead by Daylight and mix that into this kind of genre. From what I understand, it's supposed to be more players. I believe it's supposed to be 5 survivors.
3v7.
3v7, so
Yeah.
seven survivors versus 3 clowns
Yeah.
who would act as the killers. I'm hoping that this is one of those things that you get to do where you get to pick, like Dead by Daylight, you get to choose if you want to be killer or if you want to be survivor. I'm a killer stan. I don't like playing survivor, so hopefully you get to choose if you want to be one of the clowns and you just stay with that the entire time.
What clown would you pick?
I'm kind of hoping that we get to see this game kind of evolve a little bit more. I hope that the graphics, which don't look bad, by the way, I hope that they improve on that. I hope they improve on the gameplay that they have going on, and I hope that they give us a lot of extras. I want goodies. I want a bunch of clowns. I want a bunch of costumes. I want a bunch of zany weapons. I want a few different areas to play in. Like I want some space for these battles. I'm hoping that they balance out the characters. Like I said,
What
I
clown
don't
would you
really
pick?
Probably Shorty, to be
Yeah.
honest. Really like Shorty, and then my other favorite, I can't think of his name right now. off the top of
Shorty
my
needs
head,
a finisher
but
where he puts on the boxing gloves and like knocks somebody's head off.
that'd be great. My other favorite, I can't think of his name at the moment. I think it's Jumbo, and
Fatso?
if I'm not mistaken, Jumbo is the one. No, there's Fatso and Jumbo, and I think Jumbo is the one that made the fucking sheriff of the town, like the puppet.
Oh,
Essentially
yeah.
put his hand. Yeah, like that's my other favorite one. So one of them would be my favorite, but I would love for them to have a plethora of different clowns and then different costumes and whatnot, consumables you can have. Like I'm just hoping for the best for this game. I can't wait to get more information. I know it's coming out sometime next year, early next year. I don't know if that's January, February, March, but I'm hoping that they really put some time into this. And I know they're going to have the soundtrack for the game in the game. There's no way that they couldn't. So I'm just super excited for that. And it makes me want to buy the Killer Clowns from Outer Space record. And I'm actually looking into that right now. So we'll see how expensive it is and when it's supposed to come out. Yeah, man, that's my news for the week.
Killer Clowns. Isn't the theme done by like the Dickies or somebody?
I don't want to lie to you and say that because right now my brain's going a mile a minute. So I'm not sure.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's going to bring us to our next segment. Nice news. That was a nice surprise at Gamescom. I can't lie. I do really like the Killer Clowns movie. Definitely a cult following B movie from the 80s, but it's a good watch. Mrs. Sin will disagree with me. I personally like it, but she does not have refined horror taste.
That's really funny because my fiance, she loves that movie as well. It's one of her favorites too.
I put it on and she's just like, this is stupid. And I'm like, shh. Just leave it alone.
That's kind of the point, though. Like you got to know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she fully gets all that at time. Like, I remember whenever we first I was trying to introduce her. We watched Cabin in the Woods, which is clearly made to make fun of horror movies, and she was like, "This is so stupid." And I was like, "You don't understand what it's doing." And then once she watched more horror movies, she was like, "Wow, it makes a lot more sense." And she was like, "Okay, that's actually pretty good." And I was like, "Yeah, a lot of movies, they'll make fun of themselves if you really pay attention." But we're gonna quit stalling and we're gonna get to our next segment. We could talk horror all day. She-Hulk episode 2. Thoughts on it? Kind of a filler episode, not a lot. We get introduced to Abomination. We meet him. Jennifer Walters gets a new job because she gets fired for becoming the Hulk. It messes up the case. They fire, so she starts applying and she gets a new job, which I think Christian kind of called last week, where she ends up working. But one of the stipulations, she actually has to be in Hulk form to work and do her court cases, which she doesn't really know at the time until she gets there. And then she has to take on the case of Abomination, which he seems sympathetic. and he apologizes about Bruce and fighting and tearing up and all that, and they gave him stuff, and they gave him what was it? What's the stuff they give Captain America? Um,
Super Soldier Serum.
yeah, there we go. They gave him that. It made him aggressive, and he was doing this. That's why he did all the things, and he's so sorry, and he wants to, make amends and all this, and he wrote Hulk a nice letter, and blah, 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 blah. And then she takes the case to find out he broke out and he was in a fight. He was in like a fight club. So apparently he's not that damn sympathetic. Kind of a filler episode, just kind of setting up, I guess, your villain. Still not a bad show. I still, it's still fun. You see her family's not really fazed by her being the Hulk. A lot of kind of dumb questions, but it's all right still. We'll see where it goes. I kind of expect some dry, slower episodes like this. I'm hoping it picks up, and I'm sure it probably will as it goes along, but it's kind of just setting the world around her. And yeah, Christian, what'd you think about it?
I like this one as well. Like, I don't have like a whole lot of gripes, but I do have some gripes that I'll get into here in a second. But as far as She-Hulk goes, like I like She-Hulk. I like the show is fine. It's doing exactly what it's set out to do. It's meant to be funny with some action, and that's exactly what we're getting. So we're getting what we were advertised. So that's one of the reasons why I enjoy this as much as I do. Just because, like I said, we're not getting advertised or shown something that this show isn't. So I like that part of it. I like all the parts with She-Hulk. I really do actually enjoy. I actually like the character She-Hulk in the comics a lot. For obvious reasons. I'm not going to sit here and posture and lie to you guys, but most guys raised in the '90s, late '80s, we like She-Hulk. She's kind of cool. She's cute. She does some cool stuff. She breaks the fourth wall. She's super strong, but she's not the strongest. Her stuff is interesting.
She breaks the fourth wall in this episode too, which is nice and a good nod, I feel like.
Yeah. And that's something that she's probably going to do every episode because that's a part of her character. Like I said last week, she's been doing that long before Deadpool was doing it. That's just her thing. So we'll see her do that a lot more. And then as far as like some little things that I noticed, I'm just going to go for the biggest thing. The biggest thing that I noticed in this episode, and I'm surprised that you didn't actually bring it up already, but when she's job hunting and whatnot, she's looking at all these sites and you see all these articles pop up. And biggest thing that I saw was that there was an article on her computer screen that says, "Man with metal claws fights in a bar brawl," which is obviously Wolverine. So that made me super fucking excited, and I can't wait. I cannot wait to see more X-Men centered stuff in the MCU because the X-Men are fantastic. I love most of the X-Men characters, and I can't wait to see who they get cast for these people. And Wolverine has been my favorite since I was like, I don't know, 6, 7 years old. So probably actually before that, I think Wolverine was my favorite character when I was 4 or 5 years old. So Batman's my first love, and then Wolverine showed up, and I really like him too. So that's really cool. But that just made me so excited. I was so hyped. I love that. That was my favorite part of the episode. Absolutely. You got Abomination, Emil Blonsky writing haikus and shit to Bruce. Bruce is making jokes saying that that was years ago, and he's literally a different person now. Letting the fans know that he is a different person, he's a different actor. He's not Edward Norton anymore. So
where was Bruce going, by the way?
Bruce is clearly going to Sakaar.
What's that?
And that's why that ship crashed or had them crash in the first episode. And what I think, honestly, man, I think that the citizens of Sakaar, somebody from Sakaar wants him to come back because in the comics, when he's on Sakaar, the Hulk gets married and falls in love and has a kid.
Is that where he was on Thor?
Yeah, that
whenever
that
they fought in like
called,
the arena or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's adapted from the Planet Hulk story. That's adapted from that. So Bruce is going to be off world, which means that She-Hulk's going to be the only Hulk character that we're going to get for a little while. So they'll probably squeeze her in some movies or something coming up here soon because I'm sure they're going to need a Hulk. The Avengers always need a Hulk character. And she was a part of the Fantastic Four for a long period of time as well, for those people who don't read the comics. So she will probably join the Fantastic Four at some point as well. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this character in the future. It's really cool stuff, but just some little stuff that I noticed. I think I may have written it down. I'll look real quick just to see, but spitballing here. Obviously, her new job is to get the Abomination, Emil Blonsky, out of prison. She's working for I think it's GLKNH is the name of the law firm. She has to be in Hulk form to do it. We saw that. The firm is in the comics. I think I mentioned that last week. I already talked about how Bruce jokes about being a different person. Titania, the actress that plays Titania, actually already dropped the ball that she's not going to be in the show again until episode 5. So we won't see her again until episode 5. They'll probably mention her. I don't really like what they're doing with her character right now, so I hope that they fix that because her being a superhero influencer is kind of stupid to me. So hopefully that's better. We talked about Bruce going to Sakaar, and I'm hoping it's because he's going to meet his son, the son of Hulk. I really hope that we're going to do something with that because Mark Ruffalo's just getting older and older, and they really need to do something dope with his character before he's too old to realistically play this character anymore. So I'm hoping that we do something with him. That's my hope. And then they reference the Stone Celestial in this movie from the movie. I can't, the Eternals. Finally, they say that when she's eating dinner with her family, her dad brings up like, what does Hawkeye do with his arrows? Does he go back and collect them? But we already know from watching Hawkeye that he does go back and collect arrows because he talks about that in the Hawkeye show. Um, and then with Emil Blonsky, like in the comics, if I'm not mistaken, he couldn't change back to his human form. He was stuck as the Abomination until he got worked on by the leader, I want to say, which is another Hulk villain that we should have already gotten that we haven't gotten, which is fucking crazy to me. Um, but with that said, though, like it's very clear to me. Like I don't know how you felt about it and how fans feel about it, but to me, it's very clear that Abomination is full of shit. He is evil as piss. The super soldier serum doesn't make you evil or aggressive. It just brings out what was already there. We learned that from Captain America, the first Avenger. That's the reason why Steve Rogers was chosen to be Captain America because he was the best of the best when it comes to you being a good human being. He was the best person for the job, quite literally. So that's what happens. And honestly, like one thing that I do like about the super soldier serum that we're talking about is the super soldier serum is what gave people like Wolverine his powers because technically Captain America is Weapon 1. Wolverine is Weapon X, which stands for 10, which we should know. And there are weapons everything, right? So there's a lot of these weapon characters. Captain America just being the first one. He has the pure, unadulterated super soldier serum in his veins, right? That's why he lives so long and all this stuff. So we have that going on, but there are bastardizations of this serum for all these other characters, and Wolverine is no exception. He is definitely one of those characters. Deadpool's one of those characters. The second Wolverine, Laura Kinney, is one of those characters. Like, there's a lot of them. There's even a Hulk character that has Wolverine claws as well. His name is Weapon H. Like, there's a lot of these fuckers out there. So I like that they bring that up because hopefully that means that they're setting that up for the future. And I hope that that's the case because we need more shit going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that opens up the door for us to have some really cool events that don't always center around the main Avengers line of characters. Hopefully that's what happens. Um, and also going back to Emil Blonsky, the Abomination being a total piece of shit here is this motherfucker is evil, bro. There's no getting around it. He's a piece of crap. Bruce's character in the MCU version, like his Hulk is very different from comic book Hulk. So that's strange to me, but whatever. I'll talk about that last episode. But with that being said, we know that the serum doesn't make you any more than what you already are. It just makes you more of what you were to begin with. And Emil is an asshole. He's in that fighting ring and stuff. I think he's just trying to give people this like new age, I'm super cool, I'll write haikus kind of stuff so that he can get out of prison, so that he can start doing what he would normally be doing and just hopefully not get caught this time around. I think that's what he's doing, and I think that he will get out at the end of the season, either breaking out or getting out because She-Hulk does her job really well. Either one. I think he's definitely going to get out and be a part of the Thunderbolts, which we already know at this point is going to be another series on Disney Plus at some point or a movie. So I'm just really excited to see what they do with this. Like I said, I like She-Hulk, but I'm really interested more so in what will come from the show. And that's pretty much my thoughts on it. I thought it was fine. I didn't really have a whole lot of gripes. I think the Abomination's full of crap. I think that the Hulk of the show is not great because the Hulk in the MCU is not my favorite version of the Hulk, and he's not really the Hulk from the comics like at all. So that's really annoying to me. But She-Hulk is great. I love when she breaks the fourth wall. Her CGI is looking a little bit better this episode, and the Abomination is full of crap. That's how I feel.
I think it's a for at least me and my demographic, it is a great change from Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was definitely not for me, not for my demographic. This I'm more interested in, and the filler episode, like that's what I kind of consider. This is just a filler. Like you're introducing your bad guy, and that was about it. But I liked it so far. I have no real major qualms with it. But yeah, so solid start to the season. I'm excited to see where it goes. I definitely am intrigued to watch more. So yeah, not too bad with She-Hulk so far. But we're quickly gonna go into a premiere that I think we've both have been kind of not sure about. Like I want it because I love Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones is one of my favorite shows of all time. I love that whole world, that universe, and I have been kind of optimistic that House of Dragon will be good. I've talked to a bunch of people, and they were super optimistic. Pretty much because House of Dragon is based off of Fire and Blood book, which is completed. So there's nothing for them to kind of like ramble off because they kind of know where the show has to go and where it needs to tie eventually to get into the Song of Fire and Ice or Ice and Fire, whatever. Where Game of Thrones picks up, you have to get there. So you can't really screw up too much stuff, and you pretty much have set material of the history of the Targaryens. So a lot of people have been pretty optimistic about it, and I will have to say, for me, episode 1, I didn't know how it would feel, and that would have been a big thing for me because I know how Game of Thrones feels when I watch it. But
let me interrupt you real quick. I apologize. I just saw this just now as we're recording, but I just learned that Shazam and Aquaman, those two sequels, have both been delayed.
Yeah,
so,
I saw that.
I didn't know that was happening, but I know that those dates have been changed yet again. They haven't been changed a lot, but they definitely got changed, and I think it's so they don't have to compete with other movies coming out around the same time. So it looks like the Shazam sequel will now be released March 17th of 2023. So that's coming out next year, and Aquaman is also coming out next year, and it'll be Christmas Day of next year. So
God.
instead of those movies coming out this year like they originally planned, and then later on next year they're coming out, like I said, March of next year and Christmas Day of next year. So just wanted to throw that out there. I apologize for interrupting.
Breaking news. All right, so Game of Thrones, House of Dragon. What I was saying is I didn't know how the show would feel. You know, would it feel like a completely different vibe, like a different show? It didn't to me. Literally, when it started, once I saw like King's Landing and all this stuff, I was like, damn, this literally feels like Game of Thrones. I feel like I'm back watching Game of Thrones like another season. Literally, it's just all new characters, which is a big part of it, but it was the same. I don't know. I just had that same vibe. I really enjoyed the first episode. I will say this. I know Christian loves Morbius. I think Matt Smith as Daemon Targaryen is fantastic. I really liked him. I think he's a really good bad guy because I already am getting this like really violent, evil vibes from him. I like him. I like where we're going. I'm interested in it. I know it's a war coming between the Targaryens. They're going to split over this who's the heir. I'm in for it. Dragons are cool. We're meeting new dragons. We're seeing more of the lore. They did a nice tie-in to the Game of Thrones series where Viserys is talking to Rhaena. Yeah.
Rhaena Targaryen, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking to her, and he's pretty much telling, like, the wisdom that's been passed down about, you know, pretty much the White Walkers coming, all that stuff, which is cool. It ties it all in. Like I said, you know where it's going eventually. So I feel like there's not a lot of room for them to potentially screw it up and just kind of make up what they want to do because they have, like, set material. Like, this book is done. It's not like the other series where people are still waiting on George R.R. Martin to finish. I liked it, though. There was a nice touch. I don't know if you noticed it, Christian. On Viserys, he has a dagger. That's the dagger that Arya has and kills the White Walker with, or the Night King.
Yeah.
That's a nice little touch, and we were like, oh, shit. But there was a lot of stuff in it. I really dug it. There was one Stark sighting whenever they're kind of all pledging to Rihanna. It was Recon Stark, I think. I could be wrong.
Rickon Stark, yeah.
Yeah, but you saw the different ones. Obviously, none of these people are going to be around Game of Thrones. It's set 200 years, 176 years before the events of Game of Thrones, I think, or something like that. So none of them are going to be around, but it's cool to see all this and to kind of see where it goes to get there. Because it's a peaceful time when the Targaryens were ruling and they were dominant with their dragons. But I didn't want to go too much in. Next episode, I would definitely like to deep dive more once we have 2 episodes. I know the premiere was crazy. I think it's the largest HBO premiere they've had. And I think it had over 10 million views or something. Viewers. I think the app even messed up. Didn't you have trouble getting in that night?
Yeah, I actually couldn't watch the show until Monday afternoon, Monday night, because it just...
Wow. Yeah. But I mean, I personally liked it. I liked it enough that the missus has actually, she's read all the Game of Thrones books, but she's never read the one this is based off of, Fire and Blood, and she has it now. So I'm actually going to look at it while we go on our little vacation this week. So I'm pretty excited. Christian, what did you think about it?
I don't have a whole lot of thoughts. This is my honest opinion is this. I thought this was a fucking fantastic first episode. And if the show is going to be like this first episode, then we're in for a real treat. And I can't wait for the next one. I really like the characters. I really like the acting. I love the music. I love the hints to old themes.
It was Game of Thrones music. Like a lot of it was songs and things used in Game of Thrones that I was catching.
Yeah, but they were like redone.
Yeah, that's perfect though. Like to me, that's love it.
Exactly. And I really, really like that. They kind of told you what's going on at the first episode. Like they let you know exactly what's going on. They let you know exactly where stuff's going to end up. I know you haven't read the book. I've read some of it. I know where a few of our characters end up and who they end up with.
Is this the Dance with Dragons? Is that where we're going, or whatever?
I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I don't want to lie to you. All I can say is, without spoiling it, this is very clearly what starts the war between the Targaryens, because they're warring with each other, right? So we're going to see a lot of dragon fighting, a lot of dragons dying. We're going to see, obviously, people are going to die and stuff. Like, we're going to see a lot of that. But because it's a Game of Thrones show, it's set in that world, so that's what happens in this. But as far as the atmosphere of the show, it's got a visual upgrade. Like, everything is visually upgraded. I know it takes place before.
Did it feel like a different series to you, or did it feel like literally you were just starting a new season of Game of Thrones?
No, it did feel new, to answer your question, but it felt familiar, very familiar.
It made me happy. I was like, "Fuck yeah, new Game of Thrones."
Yeah, one of the sets where we're in King's Landing, the set where Cersei has the whole map of Westeros like painted on the floor. Like, we're in that room, but obviously there's no map because it hasn't been painted yet because Cersei's not alive. So that kind of thing is really fun to see. I loved all of that. I don't have any gripes with this episode. I loved that. I can't remember his name right now because I still don't remember a lot of people's names because
it'll take a little bit.
I had to watch the show. Yeah, I had to watch the show pretty fucking late on Monday night, just because that's when my app started working again. But I can't remember his name. He's married to the queen that never was. He has white hair and he has 2 children.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's a Valerian. I can't think of his first name.
Yeah, I love that character right now, and I love that character. I like the character in general. But I like that he didn't accept to drink with all the other lords that were there while they were talking about who should succeed, the current king, because he's all like, yeah, we got to do this tournament. I don't want to talk about none of this stuff. I'm going to have a son. I don't care what anybody says. Like, he's like posturing and whatnot. But then you see him getting cut on the throne and he's not getting well. And
so does he have a skin? Quickly, I think Mrs. Sin mentioned she thinks he might have a skin, like a blood disorder, or a blood something causing him not to heal, or some kind of sickness.
Yeah. He definitely has some kind of blood.
I thought it was that thing that Jorah Mormont got at first. The way the wound looked. What is that disease he had?
Grayscale.
What?
The grayscale disease.
Yeah. I thought it was that, but she doesn't think so. She thinks he just has some kind of thing making him where he can't heal as fast, like from the cuts and
Yeah,
the
I mean,
sores.
you think about the time period in which this is. He's getting cut. He's not healing. He's infected, bro. Like
Yeah.
his wounds are getting infected. He's not healing. He's sickly. He's not getting what he needs at all because he's putting everything off. He's not taking care of his body at all. And that shows with even his wife. She's had so many miscarriages and whatnot. And she is doing her duty as a wife at this time, which is really sad. He's constantly trying to have a male heir so that he doesn't have to worry about what the people around him are saying, and he's dying from it. And it also shows you the Targaryen sickness that we hear about, like the dragon sickness. That's kind of what that is as well. We'll see a little bit more of that and where that ends up, and where her best friend in the show, Rhaena's best friend, ends up in the show. Like I said, I've read a lot of this book, and I don't want to. And I read it a little while ago, don't mind you. So I'm gonna be misremembering some things, but I don't want to ruin where it comes from. I will say there is a reason why they show the main character's best friend wearing green the entire episode. There is a reason for that.
Green versus red.
I mean, but like for people who don't watch it would know that, so just keep that in mind. And,
I mean, I don't really know what all that means. I just know that I was told that before the show even started that it would be essentially split green versus red. However, that
I'm just excited. That's really all I got. Like I just want to see more, so I can't wait for the next episode.
All right, heck yeah, it was a really good first episode. I'm excited. We'll definitely be diving in. I think there might be 10 episodes this season. I could be wrong. There may be less. There may be more. I really don't know, but we'll definitely go over them each week and talk about them. Super excited for it. And yeah, that's pretty much all we have to talk about this week. But it is time for the last call. So
Whiskey!
Get those whiskeys. Last call, boys and girls.
Pass the whiskey.
All right, this week's last call. I'm gonna call an audible, and I'm gonna ask it myself. But it's kind of inspired by somebody, and we'll talk about it afterwards because I was told to say this to Christian. So, Christian. This question's for you, sir. We all know Batman's your favorite, right?
Yeah.
Favorite DC character other than Batman, and why is Green Lantern a bitch?
Favorite DC character other than Batman? That's a good question because I really want to take the time and think about it because there's so many DC characters I really like. Damn, I don't want to hold up everybody right now. So first character that comes to my mind that I love, that's not Batman.
Flash.
That's not a part of the.
I know what you're
gonna
say.
We'll just do that. Who do you think it is?
I think you're gonna say Flash.
It's not Flash. I do love the Flash. I love the mythos of the Flash, but I didn't want to go the safe route. So I'm gonna go a route that not a lot of people are gonna think of. You've actually heard me mention this character before many times,
Blue Beetle.
when we talk about that we would love to see in Injustice 3. So I'll give you another guess. I talk about this character all the time when it's Injustice. Every time we talk about Injustice characters that we like to see, I bring this character up all the time. It's not a Bat family member.
Okay, about to say.
Not a Bat.
That'd be cheating.
I mean, I could just name any other Bat family character, and that's my second favorite. But if I don't go any Batman characters, it's this person I really want to see in the game. I really want to see them do more with this character. They don't do much with him at all, and it's a dude. If that helps.
I mean, not really. Blue Beetle?
It's not Blue Beetle. This isn't a technology-based character. It's a magic-based character.
I don't know.
All right, so that character is Etrigan the Demon. I love.
You have
Etrigan
never
the
mentioned
Demon.
him on this
I
podcast.
mention Etrigan every single time we talk about guest characters and Injustice. I either say Huntress or I say Etrigan. I want to see Etrigan in the game. He hasn't been in any of them. I want him in there. I need him in there, dude. He's a great character. I love it. It's here's the thing, dude. Characters that transform, that have like dual identities. I love that kind of shit. Like that's why the Hulk's one of my favorite characters in Marvel of all time. I love werewolves because they do the whole transformation thing and the beast inside you kind of thing. But then you got Jason Blood, and he's cursed with this demon Etrigan, and he says his rhyme and then turns it into Etrigan. Gone the form of man, arise the demon Etrigan. Like I love that kind of thing. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of magic-based characters. I'm just like, yeah, I fucks with this character. But Satana's cool. Obviously, I like Constantine. But if we're not talking about those heavy hitters that everybody knows, it's Etrigan the Demon every time.
Okay. So next to the other part of the question, why is Green Lantern a bitch? And this, just so you know where this is coming from, this comes from Papa Ding. I was talking to him, and he said next time you talk to Christian, tell him that Green Lantern's a bitch.
I mean, I guess it depends on which Green Lantern you're talking about. Because
apparently you heavily suggested Green Lantern to him, and he was like, he loves some Green Lantern, so make sure he knows he's a bitch.
I did so Jeff Johns wrote an entire epic story of Green Lantern. It goes over years and years and years of Green Lantern. It's when we first get the return of Hal Jordan after he was parallaxed. Like, I do really love that story. I think it's one of the best stories that we've gotten, especially from Jeff Johns and DC in general. It's fantastic. I love the lore for the Green Lanterns and how it was updated. I love the war colors. I love the Green Lantern, Yellow Lantern war. The Sinestro Core War is what it's called. Like, I love all that stuff. I'm a huge fan of it. They're just like intergalactic space cops, but their rings technically are the most powerful weapons in the entire world. But because the rings seek out certain types of people, they don't use their rings to do anything really crazy. So, like, that's why they can't beat people like Superman, for example. You know what I mean? If Superman was soaking up sunlight for a while and just went up to the sun and started soaking up sunlight, yeah, sure. But other than that, dude, there's no reason why Green Lantern couldn't beat Superman. There's no reason why Green Lantern couldn't really put the world in its knees. You know what I'm saying? As long as they're concentrating. And there's different rings that mean different things, different colors that mean different things.
One ring to rule them all.
Right. So you got blue. I don't know all the colors off the top of my head right now, but just the ones I remember. You got green, indigo, blue, orange, red, black, white. I already said indigo. Yellow, of course, for fear. I think I already said red as well. But yeah, man, there's plenty of stuff going on, and I just really like how they do that. So yeah, man, that's the answer to that question.
All right. Well, that was an audible. If you want your question featured in Last Call, be sure to come to the Gilded.gg/Sinister Pack. And in the application, just put from the podcast. We'll be sure to accept you. There is a section under General called Last Call Questions. You can put your question there, and we'll be sure to get it on an episode. You can also go to episode chat, topic suggestions, drinks. Show us what you're sipping on, because here at Sippin With Sin, we like to sip our beverages. Also, you can check out the socials. You can go to Sinister Tales and check out personal horror stories. Add a personal horror story if you have one to be featured on the Sinister Tales section and portion of the cast. Or go there and drop a story you found on the internet or something you'd like us to read or talk about. Preferably not something that is from a movie, but, something you may have found. And, then there's Christian's Corner. You can come talk comics with them and all kinds of good stuff and things. Highly recommend it. Or you can submit a last call question on social media at Sippin With Sin, SIPPIN with Sin on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Show some love there. Before I get into my socials, we have one more piece of breaking news that has come across. Breaking news. And that would be Jeffrey Dean Morgan is joining The Boys for Season 4. He has confirmed he has signed on to have a reoccurring guest role on Season 4 of The Boys. That will be interesting. I'm into that.
Wait.
Christian, do you like that?
I love that news. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is fantastic. I knew that he was going to be in it already, and I knew that he signed on. I honestly just forgot to write it down to talk about. I saw that a few hours ago before we started recording, and I just
leave it to Christian to rain on my parade, as always.
Man, sorry, guys. I did see that he was
just
doing that.
Raining on my parade.
I knew that he was. Yeah, my fault, man. What I meant to say was, I didn't know that was happening. That's awesome.
There you go. Thanks, Christian. That's so much better. Okay, you can find me, I Am Sinister, on social media at IamSinister TV on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Go follow, go say hello. Love to converse with you. You can also find me live streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/IamSinisterTV, Facebook Gaming, fb.gg/IamSinisterTV, and TikTok at IamSinisterTV. You can watch this podcast. That's right, this one right here. You can watch the video version on my YouTube, youtube.com/IamSinister every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central Time. Or if you rather just listen to the audio version, which most people do, you can watch the video version. YouTube. Go to my YouTube, watch it. Or audio version. Go over there to Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple, Overcast, Anchor.fm, and many more. Every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Central Time. Go follow it, share it, subscribe to it, rate it 5 stars. Show it love. Let's keep growing. And that's pretty much that. Christian, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at TikTok and Instagram at Venom Inc. That is VEN and Inc. all one word. Those are the only 2 places you can find me right now, because contrary to popular belief, I don't like social media that much.
Go show his sketches some love. He's been doing like real-time sketches, and you can see his different artwork. It's super sick. Go show him some love. Spread the word.
Guys, at the time of the recording on TikTok and my Instagram, I just posted a time-lapse video of me drawing Wolverine for the very first time, and I chose to do my favorite Wolverine, which is the one from X-Men Evolution. So go check it out.
Nice.
Show me some love.
Go show it some love. Tell them you're from the podcast also. But that's going to do it for this episode. We appreciate you all listening. It's been a fun one. More Game of Thrones next week. Excited to watch the next episode and discuss more Game of Thrones. And then hopefully I'll get to read a little bit of the book. And yeah. But thank you all so much for listening. You guys and gals are awesome. We appreciate you checking us out every week. Continue to spread the word. Spread the gospel that is the podcast. Maybe some fun stuff in the works for you guys soon. And yeah. Everybody have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you guys next week. Christian, shut it down.
Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Sipping With Sin. Be sure to leave a 5-star review, smash that like button, and leave a comment in the comment section below. But more than anything, guys, don't get gutted.
Don't get gutted. See you guys next time.